Imagine pulling into your driveway after a grueling shift, only to find your front yard vandalized with neon violation tags. Courtesy of the neighborhood's self-appointed queen bee. Now picture that queen bee crumbling in a public hearing. Her forged empire exposed. As the crowd erupts in slow, mocking applause that echoes like sweet revenge. Sarah Jenkins had always been the quiet type in Elmwood Estates. That picture-perfect suburb in suburban Ohio where manicured lawns hid a web of petty tyrannies enforced by the Homeowners Association. She'd moved there 5 years ago after her husband Tom's sudden heart attack left her alone with their 2 rescue dogs in a mountain of grief. The house was modest, the neighbors distant. But Sarah found solace in her backyard garden, a riot of wildflowers, herbs, and a small stone fountain Tom had installed himself before he passed. It wasn't just landscaping, it was her therapy. Her way to keep his memory alive without screaming it from the rooftops. But tranquility? That was an illusion shattered one crisp autumn morning when Patricia Patty Hargrove, the HOA president, decided Sarah's sanctuary was a threat to community aesthetics. Patty was the epitome of polished control. With her pearl earrings, pressed khakis, and a smile that could curdle milk. She'd been ruling the HOA board for a decade, quoting bylaws like scripture while sipping decaf lattes at meetings. It's all about maintaining standards. Dear, she'd coo to dissenters, her voice dripping with faux sympathy. But behind the facade, a micromanager terrified of losing her grip. Especially after whispers of a board election loomed. Sarah, meanwhile, kept her head down. Rumors had swirled about her after Tom's death, whispers that she was unstable, letting the property go, even hints she'd driven him to an early grave with her eccentric hobbies. She heard them at the mailbox, felt eyes on her during walks. But she observed, noted, and waited. Patience, after all, was her sharpest tool. It started innocently enough. Or so it seemed. Sarah was kneeling in her garden one Saturday, pruning rosemary under the sun's warm glow, when Patty's golf cart hummed to a stop at the curb. Clipboard in hand, sunglasses perched like a crown, Patty stepped out with the air of a sheriff in a bad western. Sarah, honey, we've got a little issue here, she said, her tone all sugar-coated venom. Sarah looked up. Dirt-streaked gloves paused mid-snip. Issue? Patty flipped a page on her clipboard dramatically. Your fountain. It's exceeding the allowable decibel level for water features, subsection 4.7 of the covenants. Neighbors have complained about the noise pollution. Sarah blinked. The fountain was a gentle trickle, barely audible over birdsong. Complained? Who? Patty's smile tightened. Anonymous. Of course. For privacy. But trust me, it's disruptive. You'll need to shut it down or face a fine. Sarah stood slowly, brushing soil from her knees. It's been here for years. Tom built it. Patty's eyes flickered with something like triumph. Ah. Yes. Poor Tom. But rules are rules. Dear. We can't have exceptions just because. Well, you know. She scribbled something, tore off a pink slip, and handed it over like a royal decree. Sarah took it without a word, folding it neatly. Inside, she seethed, but outwardly, calm as the fountain's still pool. That night, she pulled out her old laptop and started digging HOA minutes, public records, anything digital. Patty didn't know it, but Sarah had been a paralegal before Tom's death. She knew how to build a case. The whispers escalated faster than weeds in spring. By Monday, Sarah's mailbox overflowed with concerned notes from neighbors. Egged on by Patty's email blasts. Did you hear about the widow's eyesore garden? It's attracting pests, one read. Another, safety hazard, those wildflowers could hide snakes. Sarah overheard two women at the community pool murmuring. She's probably depressed. Letting it all go wild like that. Poor thing. But it's bringing down property values. She bit her tongue. Smiled politely when they waved. But noted their names. Meanwhile, Patty ramped up her patrols. Circling Sarah's block like a shark. One evening, as Sarah sipped tea on her porch, Patty pulled up again. Evening. Sarah. Just a friendly reminder about that fountain. Sarah set her cup down. I turned it off. As requested. Patty peered over the fence. Her nose wrinkling. Good. Good. But now. Those herbs. They're non-native species. Invasive. Potentially. Subsection 6.2. Sarah leaned forward. Her voice even. Rosemary? Invasive in Ohio? Patty chuckled. A sound like cracking ice. Well, not technically. But it doesn't match the approved plant list. We aim for uniformity, keeps things civilized. Sarah's eyes narrowed slightly. Civilized. Right. Patty missed the sarcasm. Or ignored it. Handing over another slip. 2 weeks to comply. Or fines double. As she drove off. Sarah whispered to herself. Oh. Patty. You're digging your own grave. That week. Sarah photographed everything, her garden. The slips. Even Patty's cart license plate. She emailed the board anonymously. Questioning the anonymous complaints, but got no reply. Instead. More rumors, she's hoarding junk back there. Bet it's a fire risk. Sarah endured. But her patience was a coiled spring. Tensions boiled over when Patty crossed into absurdity. Sarah woke one dawn to find her garden gate ajar and several plants uprooted, deliberate sabotage. She knew it was Patty, who else patrolled at 5 a.m. But proof? Slim. At the next HOA meeting in the sterile clubhouse, Sarah sat in the back, observing as Patty held court. Fellow residents. We must address deviations that threaten our harmony, Patty intoned. Projecting slides of problem properties, Sarah's garden front and center. Photoshopped to look overgrown and chaotic. Gasps rippled through the room. This resident's disregard for guidelines is blatant. I've initiated a formal review with the city code enforcement. Sarah's blood ran hot. But she waited for Q&A. When it opened, she stood. Miss Hargrove. That photo, it's altered. My garden doesn't look like that. Patty's smile faltered for a split second. Nonsense. Dear. Standard documentation. If you have an issue, file an appeal. A board member. Timid old Mr. Ellis. Shifted uncomfortably. Patty. Maybe we should verify. But she cut him off with a wave. No need. Rules protect us all. Sarah sat down. But not before noting Ellis's unease. Later. Alone. She hacked into public HOA filings, nothing illegal. Just smart searching, and found discrepancies. Patty had approved her own surveillance upgrades without votes. Billing the community for hidden cameras around problem areas. One pointed straight at Sarah's yard. Gotcha, Sarah murmured. Downloading metadata. The absurdity peaked when Patty escalated to outright fabrication. Sarah received a city notice, potential health violation, unpermitted water feature posing mosquito breeding risk. Attached? A report with forged signatures from board members, including Ellis, who Sarah knew was out of town. But the kicker, doctored photos showing stagnant pools in her fountain, which she'd already drained. This is war, Sarah thought, her calm cracking into calculated fury. She confronted Patty at her doorstep that evening, under the glow of streetlights. These photos are fake. You edited them. Patty, in her robe, feigned shock. Accusations? How dare you? I'm just enforcing order, for everyone's sake. Sarah held up her phone, showing original timestamps. Your camera caught you uprooting my plants last week. Metadata doesn't lie. Patty's face twisted, first confident smirk, then dawning panic. That's trespassing on my footage. Sarah's voice dripped. Me am I. Your footage? Paid for with HOA dues. Aimed at my property without consent. Cute. Patty slammed the door. But Sarah heard the lock click twice, fear. Back home, Sarah rallied allies. She texted Ellis, your signature's on a forgery. Want to chat? He spilled, Patty had bullied the board, faking approvals to maintain control. Another neighbor, fed up with Patty's fines over holiday lights, shared emails proving embezzlement, petty cash funneled to her patrol supplies. Sarah compiled it all, dossiers, screenshots, affidavits. The black humor hit when Patty sent a mass email, beware the widow's vendetta, she's unstable. Sarah laughed bitterly. Projecting much? The explosion came at the emergency board meeting, packed with residents Patty had alienated over years of nonsense rules. Sarah arrived last, binder in hand, as Patty banged her gavel. This frivolous challenge wastes our time, she snapped, her voice high and brittle. But Sarah stepped to the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk facts. She projected the evidence, side-by-side photos, real versus forged. Gasps. Then emails, Patty's directives to handle the widow problem. Murmurs turned to outrage. You spied on us, one shouted. Patty stood, red-faced, sputtering. This is for safety. You ingrates don't understand, Sarah cut in smoothly. Safety? Like forging reports to City Hall, claiming my garden's a biohazard? Or uprooting plants at dawn like a deranged gardener? Laughter bubbled, dark, satisfying, as Patty's composure shattered. You can't prove that. But Ellis rose. I can. She forged my name. The room erupted. Patty's eyes darted, sweat beading, her pearl earrings trembling. This is a witch hunt, she shrieked. But the vote was swift, suspension, pending ethics probe, as cops, summoned by a tip, escorted her out for questioning on fraud. The applause started slow, building to a roar. Sarah watched, a small smile playing. Revenge? Served with receipts. In the aftermath, Elmwood breathed easier. The board reformed, scrapping half the bylaws as Patty's follies. Sarah's garden bloomed unchecked, a wild testament to resilience. Neighbors stopped by with cuttings, apologies woven in. Patty? Facing charges for forgery and misuse of funds. Her house sold in a fire sale. Whispers now dogging her, the HOA Karen who bit off more than she could chew. Sarah sat by her fountain one evening, restored and gurgling softly. Dogs at her feet. She'd won not with shouts, but silence turned sharp. Power unchecked rots from within. And sometimes, The quiet ones strike hardest. But tell me, was Patty the real villain? Or just a product of a system that lets petty tyrants flourish? Who's the bigger fool, the rule breaker or the rule maker gone mad?